DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
What's up, Delaware and beyond, on a Monday after Thanksgiving? Welcome back into DETV Wilmington for another sports update. Nick Alessandrini, as always, Jason McCall, Matt Maurer, and we are ready to dive in. Week 12 NFL recap. We'll recap Thanksgiving. Monday Night Football ahead tonight. All three of our teams getting dubs over the weekend. We'll talk about an anticipating matchup coming up next weekend. Frank Reich was fired today, something we've talked about a few times during the season. That finally came to fruition today, and the Steelers have a breakout day on offense. How about that? 420 yards, and we'll talk about for the first time in a long time that they were able to crack that 400-yard mark. So a lot to get into, but as always, we start with where was Jason McCall this weekend? Jason, how's Thanksgiving, and where were you? What were you up to?
Thanksgiving was cool. I went to go see the family, the in-laws in Mississippi. Was there until Sunday. Got a chance to just different air, different atmosphere is always fun. Going to see the in-laws. Well, not in-laws. I call it they all family. I don't know in-laws nothing with me. But no, that was cool to see. Last Monday we didn't have a show because we were at the Ebony Tire Fair here in Wilmington at the Waterfall, which is pretty much a celebration of black excellence from a male perspective. And you get to dress up in your formal wear. So it was about 450 men in one room, fellowship and networking, and a few awards were given out. Our own CEO here, Ivan, was given an award. One of my homeboys from school, Nudie Felton, was given an award. So just seeing the community give back to each other was pretty cool. And before I keep going, I was able to see you at the
That's right.
Delaware versus Del State game, the Route 1 rivalry about a week and a half ago. So that was
a battle, too, I'll tell you what.
It was close.
Del State looked good in that second
close,
half.
but no cigar. But we did get a couple of wins after that, so that was good. But other than that, yeah, just spending time with family and actually getting some rest for once. And it was good to be back.
Get some rest.
Yeah, get some back. Get some rest, man. Good to be back.
Stan got them boys playing good so far.
Yeah.
It always takes a couple years. You got to get them really going.
My polo on today.
Yeah, so they look good in that second half,
Right.
getting a couple wins. Talking to some of the guys over there, the broadcast team and some of the people close to the team, I said this year is going to be a good year for them. So excited to see them go forward. Delaware was just in the Bahamas playing in a tournament. Just lost to GW yesterday, so tough loss to George Washington. And on that note, Matt Maurer, welcome back. A big win on Thanksgiving. Got to check out the 49ers. Well, I'm not sure if you even had to watch that one.
No.
You kind of thought that might be over maybe before it started. A banged-up Geno Smith didn't work out for the Seahawks, so you got to enjoy Thanksgiving and see your team take care of business.
That's right. All the ham is gone. All the macaroni and cheese is gone. Sweet potato pie is gone.
No leftovers.
Yeah, we killed it. Shout out to the one fan member that brought a dish that no one ate, but kind of got to step your game up. I ain't gonna say no names.
Must have been some ambrosia salad or something.
Man.
Wasn't ambrosia salad, but it was one of those ones that people took the small bites and they're like, put that back.
Yeah, we all have one like that.
There's always one.
There's always one.
There's always one.
God bless their heart. They try. But
Did you get a fantasy win over the weekend?
I did really
every
well.
week you're stacking up some W's now.
Stacking up dubs.
Man, I had a tough. I went into last night with Herbert versus Keenan Allen straight up to see who would win. And Keenan Allen took down Herbert, and I took a loss. So that one.
You took a duel? That's different. Taking a duel.
Came down to the matchup. Didn't work out in my favor. But let's jump in to the subject that we kind of maybe anticipated after the way things have started in Carolina. The Panthers lost again yesterday, 17-10 to Mike Vrabel, Will Levis, and the Tennessee Titans. Levis, one of those quarterbacks that was taken even more than a round after Bryce Young, who was the number one overall pick. Doesn't matter. They dropped this one. They also fire Frank Reich. They fire Josh McCown and Deuce Staley, all three big additions to that coaching staff in the offseason. Chris Tabor will take over as interim coach, and offensive assistant Jim Caldwell will kind of help run things. He's been there before. He knows how to do it. And, guys, let's just start with Carolina here. Is this the right move? Bryce Young and the Panthers now 1-10. Not sure if we saw them being this bad or Bryce Young being this bad, even though we were a C.J. Stroud show here ahead of the draft. Where do the Panthers go from here? Was this the right move, Jason, to get rid of Frank Reich this early? It's now happened 3 consecutive seasons where we've had an in-season coaching fire. Not something you see too often, but now third consecutive.
Yes. The right move.
Just waiting for me to finish.
Yeah, listen, I'm hanging cliffhanger, just waiting. Yes. This is a bad hire to begin with. It left a bad taste in people's mouths from the early dismissal, rather, of Steve Wilkes after last season. And you hire Frank Reich right after he was fired from Indianapolis. So he's the first coach to be fired in back-to-back seasons since the NFL merger in 1970.
Should have taken that year off.
Back-to-back years, but back-to-back seasons, and you still hire this guy. Frank Reich isn't really that great of a coach to begin with. Let's just put everything out on the table.
Doesn't look like
his
it so far.
His claim to fame was being an OC in Philly, doing that Super Bowl run, and got a flash of the pan one good season with Wentz and Nick Foles, and he's been living off of that ever since. He's not really a player's coach or X's and those guys. So what are you really? Never starting to see what are you really, because you clearly can't manage a team. Two of them, in fact.
And to your point, Jay, right, they started off the season, he was calling plays, and then he shifted, had his offensive coordinator call the plays, and then he was like, you know what, I'm going to call plays again, took over the play calling duties, and now he's fired. Just not a lot of stabilization.
It was a horrible hire, and I want to go a step further. The NFL needs to force David Tepper to sell the team, because he's a horrible owner. He's giving Daniel Snyder vibes, if you will. He's giving Dan Snyder vibes, and that lasted too long in D.C.
Way too long, 20 years.
So Tepper needs to be asked to sell a team. I'm going to take it even past firing the coach. Like this, there's no stable, there isn't any stable foundation within that organization right now, and you see it from top to bottom, and this year isn't Bryce Young's fault. I'm going to give him some slack as far as the play, but overall, honestly, it's player development, and there isn't any there. And then the fact that you're 1-10 and you still don't own the #1 pick, or you traded to Chicago?
That hurts. That's the part that really
That's why
hurts.
everybody in there, it should be a fire sale with management, and the owner should be forced to sell the team. That's just my take on it. Who am I, though?
I'll tell you what, things aren't looking good, Matt, over in Carolina. And I'm with Jason. I think a little bit, is just the construction of the team. Not a lot of talent overall. I think the offense is very vanilla. It was kind of really hard to watch the Panthers at all this year. Bryce Young has no protection up front. Really short guy. Can't really see over the line of scrimmage too well. Didn't really do a good job of getting him in the right offensive plays to have him have success. But who knows? Is it Bryce Young's fault in your opinion? And do you think this was the right move?
I don't really blame players when they don't do well. I'm honest. I just don't think he was a good pick. I think at the end of the day, NFL teams get real cute. I think the smaller stature QBs has been something that teams have been going to, and I think we're starting to find out that, look, not all these guys can play at that level, being under center that small. It is a lot to ask. We saw even Drew Brees, who I think is a little overrated, but that's another show.
One of the few that has had success.
But when you seen him throw, and the reason why I brought Drew Brees, when you seen him throw, he's throwing on the top of his tippy toes when he's throwing, because he's looking over that line. He's trying to get every inch of height he can to see the field. So I just think when you have situations like that, you not only have a situation where you have a rookie quarterback that's learning about the speed of the NFL. He's adjusting to the. You got 3 seconds, if that, to get rid of the ball, and then on top of that, you have to work on mechanics. You got to work on release points. You have to work on all those things that Drew Brees worked on when he was in San Diego, and then transferred down to the Saints with the trade. So all that stuff comes into play there. And yeah, I don't totally blame Bryce Young, but at the end of the day, I think sometimes teams get too smart for themselves. Look, my San Francisco 49ers did the same thing with Trey Lance.
Yeah, that's true.
So, it happens. They won't be the first team. They won't be the last team. So.
And again, we talked about that C.J. Stroud versus Bryce Young all season long, Jason. If you were to swap those two guys out, right, and put C.J. Stroud in Carolina with some of those weapons in that offensive line with Frank Reich and that coaching staff, I think it'd be a little bit harder for him.
I think it'd be the same story. I think we'd be talking about C.J. Stroud. We're talking about Bryce Young right now, just because it's that bad in Carolina. I don't think any quarterback could be successful in Carolina this year. And like I said again, you don't even have the #1 pick because you traded away. So you gave up a 27-year-old DJ Moore to get a 35-year-old Adam Thielen. Are you kidding me right now? Like that.
And that's right. When you're a young quarterback, you need those big-time receivers to help your development, especially in year one, your rookie year. And he doesn't have – his best receiver is a 35-year-old, as you mentioned, Adam Thielen, who doesn't really stretch the field. He's more of a check-down guy, possession receiver, 10-yard guy. And they gave up that guy to get Bryce Young and DJ Moore, so I think that was a big loss.
But let's look at the Panthers the last 3 years. You give up your 2 best players, and you had nothing to show for it. You run CMC to San Fran, nothing to show for it. You
appreciate that.
Yes, you do. I was like, you had some running back issues before that. I'll tell you.
You let DJ Moore go, and he's having his best season actually from a stat standpoint, like yards. Actually, his best year is this year, and that's why I say that. But he's
getting better, and we'll talk about.
He's getting better. Like
tonight
he's getting those yards this year, and then you don't invest in the defense at all. How do you win games?
Defense is banged up, and that's again. They did re-sign Brian Burns, I believe, last year. That was one of the guys they kept or didn't trade. Didn't trade.
Yeah.
They held on to. I thought they should have got rid of him last year and tried to get some stuff when they were going through that rebuild. So he's still part of the team now. Didn't even get rid of him at the deadline, so he's still there right now. Now let's just talk a little bit about the head coaching landscape. That's just one to go so far this year. Adam Schefter reporting on the Pat McAfee show this morning that he expects 7 to 10 head coaches to be fired in the offseason. That would be more than we've seen in the past for sure. So what do you guys think about that? Who do you think is one of those guys that he's referring to?
I am going to put it out there. I'm not going to go with the obvious choice. I'm going with a choice that might ruffle some feathers when I say this. If it's 7 to 10 coaches, I think Tomlin gets the axe.
Oh, my God.
Only because. Only because. Now, and I respect Mike Tomlin. And this is not Steelers hate. It's not anything like that. Only because I think the locker room is getting stale in Pittsburgh.
Got a big win, though. We'll talk about them later.
I think that you can't make the in-season moves that they made with firing Matt Canada, which is the first time they've ever fired a coach in season since like the 1940s.
1941. And that was because the coach fired himself and quit.
Right. But what I'm saying is I think that you can't keep being at or around 500 and keep your job. And Tomlin's done that for the last 6-7 years. Been at or around 500 and still has kept his job. I think he'll be one of the surprising latter end of the 7 to 10 coaches. I hope he's not, but I have a bad feeling that because of how the way the season's gone, the way the last couple of years have gone, post Big Ben, that he might unceremoniously get the axe. But I know for sure who needs to get fired. Let me look at this. Who's the coach in New Orleans?
Dennis Allen.
Oh, he needs to be gone now. That's one for sure.
I'll give you that one. Yeah, I think I may agree with you. Again, after Sean Payton retired, if you will, or stepped down, he was already part of the staff as defense coordinator. They just kind of handed him off, kept it in the organization. Former head coach with the Raiders, that didn't work out, was fired in Oakland years ago. I agree with you. I can see him.
Also,
I will say about Tomlin, though, never had a losing season in his career. I think this year is going to be more of I kind of see it being more of a better year where he finally finishes in the top 3 for Coach of the Year. That's how I see this year going for him. Never finished in the top 5. I think that's one of the biggest travesties in NFL history in terms of any award or any recognition given out ever. And I think this is the year he cracks that. So I'm going with Tomlin, hopefully. And he could still get fired. We've seen it before.
Let's go to the obvious choice, though. The obvious choice that we know right now, as of today, the obvious choice is Staley. Staley has to be gone.
You're right. I think he should have been gone earlier this year, Brandon Staley. And then we can take a look at some of these other ones. And let me ask you this one, Matt. A team we talked about earlier in the season was the Jets. Obviously, the Aaron Rodgers issues. Robert Saleh, I think year 3 there now, former 49ers defensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. What do you think about his job there? Is he one of those guys potentially you think that could maybe be let go after the season the Jets have had and sticking with Zach Wilson, not making a trade? And I know that goes to the uppers in the organization.
I think that's the GM.
Yeah, I think that
helps
be
fired.
Do you think
Jets,
that?
they made some bad moves. I think Sal's going on the hot seat for sure. I think his seat's definitely warm. I don't know if it's as hot as Brandon Staley or
yeah, I agree with you there for sure.
The Bears head coach or
Yeah, Eberflus. They're playing a little bit better as of now.
Question for you guys.
Yeah.
Has Arthur Smith's seat cooled off a little bit?
I think he should have been fired last year too. I mean, I would have given him, I guess, this year, but nothing. And to me, the only reason he wouldn't get fired and shouldn't, and we're saying that it's cooled off, is because the division is so bad, and now they lead the division.
He still should be fired.
And I'm with Matt. I think the drafting, which again isn't on him, but the utilization of those draft picks. You get 3 guys in the top 8 that are considered maybe the biggest playmakers of their position of maybe a generation. Kyle Pitts was the next biggest tight end of the last whatever many years. Bijan, the same thing, the best running back. Drake London, a top pick, not to that stature, but a number 1 receiver in a draft class. So when you get that many guys in your offense, again, you can't have success offensively that we maybe expect, or even get those guys the ball down the field. I'm with you. I think he's got to go. But as I say that, they are now, or have the division lead. They are now number 1 in the NFC South.
At 5
you guys
6,
remember,
right?
at 5 and 6, I picked them from worst to first to win the division in the NFC South. But again, we all knew it was going to be an ugly, ugly year down there, and it certainly is. It's it is bad down there. A few more things just to talk about here. Panthers, who are they going to go to next? Top 2 guys listed for them is Ben Johnson, offensive coordinator for the Lions, who everybody wanted last year. He decided to stay. And then Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Eagles, who was the quarterback's coach last year. And now is the offensive coordinator this year.
He should not get a job.
He should not get a job.
There's no way he should get a job.
What the world?
Former Florida Gator quarterback's coach.
That says a lot.
He should not get a job.
That says a lot.
Because that Eagles
Back
offense.
when we were decent, though.
It says a lot.
That Eagles offense don't look too.
What Florida quarterback does well in the NFL? I'm still waiting for one, please. Oh, go State. In-state rivalry. We won the game. I'm sorry. You okay? You all right?
Yeah. That's a game I thought they should have.
You all right? But I'm saying,
backup quarterback, one of the top teams. That was the time to make a big statement.
But I'm making a point to say, him having a ballyhoo, whatever career is saying, being a former Florida quarterback's coach, isn't really saying anything, because I look at Florida QBs in the NFL the way I look at Duke basketball players in the NBA. You have one exception to the rule.
They're starting to get going there.
Starting to get
going now.
But not the Florida football players, though.
No, I hear
quarterbacks.
You.
No,
no. Sure.
I will say
not that.
Quarterbacks. Yeah, I agree with you there, Scott. I think there's anything about Ohio State until C.J. Stroud.
Anthony Richardson might break the mold.
Right, Anthony Richardson could break that.
He might break the mold.
He's going to break himself.
Clearly's already done that,
Yeah.
But I'm sorry.
You're right about that there. So again, but Ben Johnson, he's the big one from the Lions. We'll see if they can get him.
Why not?
Ben Johnson should get that.
You have Jim Caldwell in house.
Tepper.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
He's Tepper.
Jim Caldwell's in house.
No, David. We just talked about David Tepper. He's not good.
But Jim Caldwell's in house. He should never been fired from Detroit. Like, what are we doing here?
We may agree with you, but he's going to go get somebody else. That, I think, is a fact, no matter whether that's the right thing to do or not. Yeah, I think he's going to do it.
He hires the Eagles OC. He's insane.
Here's a name that we didn't even mention from the 7 to 10. Should Brian Daboll have a job after this season?
Nope. Get him out of there, too.
I honestly, I don't. That's a hit or miss for me. I think for him to win Coach of the Year last year, I thought was ridiculous. 9-7, whatever, you make the playoffs. And for him to win Coach of the Year, I thought was insane.
I'm going to give you one name. Coach of the Year, and then got fired next season. I'm going to switch sports, though. I'm going to give you one name. My reference point with
Dwayne Casey.
Yes, that's a reference point with Brian Daboll.
Yeah.
See Dwayne Casey, NFL folks.
Yeah, you're right about that. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. We know David Tepper's a big personality. He likes to be, in the mix. Very one of those guys.
He got to shut up, man.
Right?
You got to do something. Let me just say this one time.
PSA.
PSA.
Give him the solo can.
Listen, bro. If you still grilling at Denny's, you cannot be walking around being Chef Ramsay, okay? Like, I go to Chef Ramsay. I'm in Hell's Kitchen. He's a GOAT. He's got like 3 Michelin stars. He can talk. Dog, you ain't done nothing. Shut up, man. Go hire the people to go do it for you, man. Stop talking, man. You ain't that guy, bro.
Interesting to see where they
buy
go.
the ingredients.
Exactly. Buy the ingredients, then make the pie. Then after the pie is good, then talk.
And as Jason talked about, no draft picks. Gave up a lot to go get Bryce Young. We'll see what the future holds for the Carolina Panthers. Now let's get into some of our Week 12 recaps here quickly, and let's start with the game we referenced a little bit earlier. Eagles beat the Bills walk-off fashion, 37-34. The Bills, though, 505 yards of offense for Buffalo in that game. They missed 2 field goals, too. One was blocked, one was missed by Tyler Bass. Hurts, 200 yards, 3 scores, ran 2 in, 5 total touchdowns for the Eagles quarterback. DeAndre Swift got 80 yards on 14 carries. Devontae Smith, Jason, really starting to get going now. 3rd straight game with a touchdown for him, 100 yards and a score. It was honestly just the Josh Allen show, and Stephon Diggs had a pretty good game. But Allen, 339 yards, 2 touchdowns, 81 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. Before we dive into the Eagles, guys, and Matt, I'll start with you here. Are the Bills done? Jason said it before the season. I laughed at him. Said the Bills wouldn't make the playoffs. Is that the case? Because this schedule down the stretch is looking pretty rough.
No, they done. They done. This is as good of a game as Josh Allen could have had. He really played. You got to give him credit. Played lights out, and they still lost. And I like to say this. I want y'all to play that defense for my team.
That's what I'm worried about.
Play that same way, because we ain't the Bills. We ain't got some bad defense that you can just
come back on.
I want y'all to play this way against us. Please do it. But yeah, the Bills, the defense is bad. I mean, look, that's really the telltale sign. The defense really could not stop. I mean, after halftime, I think everybody who's an Eagles hater like myself, we said, oh, this is interesting, 14-7. And then it got
bad.
Gave
up 30 points at the halftime.
At the halftime. Like, come on, bro.
I didn't see that coming either.
You ain't got no stops. You can't make no stops. It's over, man. I don't think they can do anything else. They've got all the play that they could have done. James Cook had a bad drop. Like, it's over, man. It's done. Stick a fork in them.
I think the injuries defensively have really caught up to them. They lost their big, heavy hitters on defense. And we talk about the loss. No Leslie Frazier. Again, we don't know what happened between him and Coach McDermott, but they decided to part ways in the offseason. McDermott calling the plays defensively.
He needs to stop.
Defense hasn't been the same, but again, they lost so many guys. Hard to tell for the reason why. But again, Jason, as you called the beginning of the year, didn't think they would make the playoffs. It's not looking great now. Let's take a look, if you just really quickly look at the schedule for Buffalo going forward. So they had to deal with, the last couple weeks, some tough contests. They have the Eagles this week. They do have their bye coming up. They rest up because then they got to go at Kansas City, Dallas, Chargers, and Miami to finish out the year.
Oh, they'll beat the Chargers, though.
Oh, yeah, we know that. For some reason, again, Vegas loves to, I don't know what it is. Ravens only 2.5-point favorites in that game last night. Doesn't get much easier than that, America.
They'll beat the Chargers, but the rest of the games are losses.
It's nasty
could be,
work,
man. And again, you look at the record. What are they sitting out? Are they 5-5?
They're
6-6. Excuse me. Yeah, 500.
So they have 6 games left.
Shockingly,
no, 5 games left. 5 games left. Yeah.
That's tough. I don't know. No playoffs. You say they're cooked too. We're looking down at some of the.
It's over, man.
But I want to.
It's gonna be tough because you got some of the. Right now, the playoffs ended today. The Colts will be getting in.
Yeah.
Think about that. And again, Shane Steichen, though, doing a great job. You can see the kind of the loss for the Eagles' offense.
Minshew's playing some good football in Indy, man.
Shane Steichen is a quarterback whisperer, man. He gets those guys rolling.
But let's just state the obvious. Say with the Bills, like they will go to the Eagles, of course. Got enough time to talk about them. But when you throw the ball 51 times, you're not going to win a football game. I don't care what quarterback you have. It could be Mahomes. It can be Brady. When a quarterback gets past the number 40 in attempts in a game, that team usually loses because it means it's an unbalanced attack. And you saw it again. And let's give Josh Allen all the smoke we would give anyone else at quarterback. His 8th straight game with an interception, at least one.
But I will say this one was one of the worst one of his for the year. That was kind of one, pre-read, whatever. But you're right, turn the ball.
He's led the league in interceptions since he's been in the league. In turnovers.
He's been in a big spot too.
2018's been in the league. He's led the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
Anyone else would have been demoted, cut, traded 2 years ago. Let's just call it what it is. The Pagulas, the ownership team in Buffalo, I got some questions for them too. You bring over an old man in Von Miller. You don't really retool the defense. Micah Hyde was old when you got him too. He's played well. He was old when you got him too.
Him and Poyer, they're coming up to you.
Gilmore was old. Where's the youth? And also, again, where is the running back? This has been their Achilles heel for the last 4 years, and it's showing itself again. When they can't close out games, they don't have a running back to feed the ball. And Josh Allen's 0-6 in overtimes now in his career.
That's right.
You don't have a running back, depending on your golden arm, and the teams can pretty much it's like an NBA. When you make teams a half-court offense, and they actually got to run plays, they get stopped. This is what happens with the Bills. When they actually have to run plays and actually have to manage a game, they can't do it.
Well, not looking good for them. Tough stretch. We'll see if they can squeak into the playoffs. You look at it now, Indy that in Cleveland alongside Pittsburgh are the 3 teams in the wild card. Then you got the Texans right on the outside looking in, followed by Denver. And I like both of those teams more than I like the Bills going forward, the way Denver's been playing late as well. So I think it's going to be tough for Buffalo to squeak in. But now let's quickly talk about the Eagles. Matt, a big game coming
Yeah.
up. They get a win here, improved to 9-1. It hasn't been the most flashy wins this year for Philadelphia,
No,
but
y'all been
they're
some
still
mids.
top
I'm
of the
gonna keep it
conference
real.
right now. And now here we go, a tough stretch coming up
That's a fact.
for the Eagles. They had the Chiefs,
Yeah.
they have the Bills, and now, of course, they go into the Niners. They got to finish with the Cowboys, some other tough teams. They have the NFL's hardest remaining schedule. But here we go. This weekend, it's Niners, Eagles,
Let's go.
in Philadelphia.
Yeah,
And guess who's the favorite?
we are.
They are.
Because they got eyes.
And
They
I
know.
will say, I don't disagree with them. Niners 2.5-point favorites. If I had to set
They
the
know.
line, that's what I would set it at, even in Philadelphia. But let me ask you this.
Yeah.
How you feel? Niners, are they back from what we've seen? They went through that tough 3-game stretch, lost 3 in a row,
I
and
think
now they're rolling again.
I think we're back, and I think we're the perfect problem for Philadelphia. I think they are in trouble more than they'd like to admit. I think that's why Hassan Reddick is out here chirping, because I think he wants to try to build the corpse up. Yeah, dog, y'all made it to the Super Bowl last year, and you still talking about us. We know why. We know why. Because you're like Apollo Creed in Rocky 1. I didn't beat him. That's right, you didn't really beat him. You beat a quarterback that had no arm, had no ligament to throw, and they were running 1935 football plays. They didn't look like they didn't even know what the forward pass was. Okay? That's what y'all did. And then y'all went out and you talked. I want you to keep that same energy and that same smoke, because we ain't like some of these other teams. You go down on us early, if you down to us, we got a defense, we can give you some problems. If you go up on points on us, we ain't like some of these other teams, we got some offense. So, we're going to find out if y'all as real as you act like you are. Because I'm going to tell you this right now, and the Eagle fans, you know what I'm talking about is true. I want y'all to look me dead in the eye right now in this camera and tell me you feel like champions. Don't tell me you look like a juggernaut. Tell me that. I want you to really tell me that, because we've seen juggernauts in this league. We've seen them. We've seen the Bucs. We've seen the Ravens. We've seen the 49ers. We've seen the Dallas Cowboys. We've seen Tampa Bay. We've seen some beasts. I want y'all to tell me if y'all really think you got beasts with that record and that margin of victory that y'all been squeaking out these wins. I want y'all to tell me. I want y'all to tell me y'all really feel that, because I don't think you feel that. I think that's why y'all talking, and I love it, because you're showing your insecurities. I love it, and I can't wait, because y'all going to get everything you asked for and then some. We ready.
And that, my friends, is what you call a mic drop.
We ready. That's right.
And again, we were talking about this before we went on the air. This is a
Yeah.
big one, right? The guys have been talking about this, as you mentioned, after the Super Bowl circle, and both teams this on their calendar. But again, to me, part one. I think this is part one of a two-part matchup, where part two means a whole hell of a lot more than part one. But I'm with you, Matt. I think this weekend, the eye test to me, I think San Fran should be favored, as they are, Jason, 2.5 points. I think it's going to be a game. I think the Eagles, though, have a little bit of that Pittsburgh Steeler in them this year, where they have the talent, maybe not as much as San Fran, or even look as good as San Fran or some of these other teams this year, but they find ways to win.
You mean
They
the
just
refs
do.
help them
They
win?
find ways to win.
Refs help them
Decent.
win.
What are you looking for specifically in this matchup that you think maybe could help decide the outcome, or just how you feel about this one in general?
Honestly, I hope San Fran beats the brakes off y'all.
I knew you were going to say it.
I'm going to sit here.
Say it, and I don't blame you. You can get
because-
jealous living in this area with all
Nah,
the success.
it's not jealous when a team has more rings than yours. Number
Oh.
one.
True, they do.
I know y'all ain't talking about rings.
Number two, the Eagles need to be humbled.
That's a fact.
And this is the perfect game. Even if you are going to take a next step and go to the
Let me
go
say this
further.
quickly. Before, the only person that matters, emotion, humbleness, whatever, is one, and that's number one. And he stays humble. You know that he ain't getting ahead of nothing. He's not saying
Who,
anything.
Jalen Hurts?
Oh, yeah, and he'll be ready to go.
He'll be ready, but the rest of the team is.
You're right. I can't answer for everybody else, but I know one guy that's ready to
Can
go.
I say that? Can I say something? Can I ask you all a question? Would you guys have him as the MVP front runner right now?
No.
That, and again, to remain unbiased, I think it's tough. I think I don't hate it, but I wouldn't personally have him as the favorite solely because, I think solely because that he is listed that way is because of how bad the field is. I think this year there's nobody that's kind
Who
of
says the field's that bad though?
I do. Look at these stats and compared to other years. And Mahomes won MVP even last year. Look at the stats compared to those this year. I just think this year it's an offense down year across the league, in my opinion.
This has been my problem with the MVP, and it's not just because Hurts is the front runner or whatever, or even Lamar. I don't have a problem with
all the awards.
Whatever. I have a problem with the QB, period, with this award. I don't know why.
It's a QB award.
Yeah, I don't know why. We only have 18 people that have ever won it in the history of the NFL. I think since 2000, we only have 4 guys. And the running backs, I think it's, what is it, Alexander, Danian, Tomlinson, Peterson, and Falk, I think.
I think Peterson was the last non-quarterback to win the MVP.
Yeah, since
2008?
Since 2000. Since 2000. I think it's only like 4 guys. And that's it. And I'd like to introduce a guy I think should be getting a lot more love in the MVP situation, but he's not going. 2 guys, actually. I think Myles Garrett should get some love, and I think that Tyreek Hill should get some love. I mean, this guy is.
He definitely should.
In 17 games, he's gonna. If he continues on his pace, he's gonna get 2,000. He's gonna have over, I think, 16 touchdowns and over 150 receptions. This guy's having a monster year, and that's the biggest crime in the MVP voting is no wideout has ever got it, and I don't understand why.
I don't know how Jerry Rice hasn't had at least 2 MVPs.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I think Tyreek Hill. You're right. And this year, I agree with you 100%. I think he should be the front runner. I would have him as my number 1 to be.
I would probably have Myles Garrett 1 because Myles Garrett has had just
monster.
And I've seen him up close and personal in person.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what,
this
too,
is insane.
if they had stability quarterback, Deshaun Watson was healthy, or they had anybody that could play consistently, and they had some more wins, because again, some of these losses are strictly because the offense has been just horrific. They can't move the ball because they haven't had a quarterback. Right. I mean, I think he'd be talked about a little bit more too, which is not his fault.
Or what's the defensive back from the Cowboys who's had all these returns?
Ron
Bland should be in the run.
Already broke the record.
That's insane.
5. He has more touchdowns than Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
but that's insane.
Tony
5
Pollard.
pick 6 in the season.
It's hard to fathom.
In one season.
It's crazy.
It's insane.
But going back to the MVP race, even though it is a pretty much quarterback-driven award, you might give me some flack for saying this. I would take C.J. Stroud as MVP over Jalen Hurts this year.
How about that? How about them apples?
Just based on the body of work and based on what you expected the Texans to be and what they actually are.
Listen, and again, I'm the biggest CJ. I've been saying it for 3 years. I've had him as number 1 quarterback for a while now. I've been preaching it for years, and I'm glad to see how well he's doing. I don't know if anybody could have anticipated he'd be doing this well early,
right?
But I can't get behind the MVP just yet.
Numbers.
6-4 out of the playoffs.
Look at the numbers.
I love CJ Stroud. I think he should win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and it's going to be a blowout victory for him there. I don't mind him being discussed in it. I just don't think he has a real chance to win.
But why isn't so? But let's think about that.
Yeah.
If the Texans find out a way to win this division, you cannot discredit him being in the running.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think so.
No.
I agree with that.
For sure.
And again, if we're talking about it, and I saw Matt, you post this or something along these lines on Facebook earlier. NFL passing leader, Sir Sam Howell.
Sam
the
Howell.
Washington Commanders leads the league in passing. Just for the record, if we were going to talk, about statistics. So Sam Howell.
No one talking about his MVP.
That's true. They are not. Well, we have
man his flowers.
We've gone right off. We've gone way off the rails here. So let's jump back in while we're on the subject of the Jaguars and Texans. A big win for the Jaguars yesterday, getting revenge on Houston.
That's your team right there.
That's why I had them winning. But coming in, I was kind of rooting for the Texans yesterday in that game.
Really?
Yeah.
You rooted for the Texans?
Yeah. C.J. Stroud.
But you've been on Jacksonville.
I know. I still think they're going to win the division. I just wanted it to be one of those seasons where it comes down to the wire and then play. I think yesterday that win for Jacksonville puts them 2 games up, so now they're really in strong a lead there.
Sunshine's going to be dangerous the second half.
He's looking good.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We see him in 3 weeks. Don't worry.
That'll be a good one, actually.
We see him in 3 weeks. In Jacksonville on Sunday night. Don't worry.
So let me ask you, and again, Tank Dell, man. Whew, I love me some Tank Dell. He's looking really good. Houston's going to be great. So fun to watch for years to come. But while we're on the subject for the division, are they a lock? Matt, Jags got this thing locked up. They got 2 games with 5 games to go, 6 games to go.
They got a lock.
Are they locked to win the division, or
no?
Who are you going with? You got the Are you going to stick with the Jaguars?
I think the Texans can creep up there. I mean, look, people don't like to talk about this because maybe it seems like it's too far out, but I think the Texans in the next 3 years are going to be really problematic, and I think they're going to be in the Super Bowl. And the reason why I say that, and people may say,
Super Bowl,
I'm going to tell you why. Because in the NFL, they've proven if you can get a rookie QB on that rookie contract and you can give him those weapons, it's a lot easier to build that championship team around him because you're getting him off the rookie discount.
See Joe Burrow in the Bengals a couple years
Joe
ago.
Burrow in the Bengals. I think Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
There's been numerous guys. Pat Mahomes, their first title they got. Like, it happens.
Jalen Hurts going to the Super Bowl before that contract.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What a contract,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Again, just what we're talking about, C.J. Stroud and company. They just got to make a couple draft picks now to that defense. Offense is looking good. Maybe add another offensive lineman. You got all the skill guys you need. Singletary and Pierce look good. Maybe add another running back there. But if they get that defense just rolling a little bit better with D'Amico Ryan, so you would anticipate it would be better next year.
I would go for a big name receiver to take the pressure off the other guys they have already.
Yeah.
You think so?
I would go after a Devontae Adams, or I would go after a Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. I like both of those.
Put either one of those guys.
But again,
Garrett
I'm telling you
ready
right
to go.
now, though, I would tell you, I think Tank Dell.
No.
I know. I'm saying
anything from them. Yeah.
Exactly. I think he's going to be one of the best receivers in the league in the next couple of years. I think Tank Dell is that good, that quick, great hands. I think he's going to be great. Again, C.J. Stroud missed him just a few times, and he still goes up and makes plays. Underthrew him just a tad. If he gets those balls out there yesterday, who knows? They could be looking at a win. But it's always going to be a battle. They asked Trevor Lawrence after the game, "Hey, you excited to have C.J. Stroud, playing in your division?" He said no. He said, "No, I just wish the division was as bad as possible every year." So that's going to be fun to watch those two guys go at it every year for that division.
So he wants the AFC East that Belichick and Brady had?
Yeah, and he wants the NFC South. But you're right. That's what it was. That's a good comparison.
Alex
there.
Smith starting that hate.
So quickly, just before we move on, Jason or Matt, let me ask you this one: ceiling for the Jaguars. Can they be Are they Super Bowl contenders?
No, not Super Bowl contenders.
No.
Nope.
Again,
Defense.
we saw what happened. Yeah. What happens when they get in the playoffs? They tend to wilt under the pressure.
I think they're contenders, but I think they're on the bottom half, that second tier of contenders. But yeah, you never know. Like right now, this is the kind of time of the year where if they get rolling the next 3 games going into the playoffs, we could be having a different discussion.
They have to learn how to use Ridley and Ingram at the same time. And I'm going to compare it to the Eagles not being able to use Smith and Brown equally at the same time. Because you see Smith numbers going up, but Brown's numbers are going down. This happened the last couple of years now. You had to be able to spread the ball to your top guys and make them the 2 best players at all times on the field. And that hasn't happened yet in Jacksonville. And just go back for a second, it's not happening in Philly. You're winning games, but
hasn't clicked all yet.
And it happens every year. It's like A.J. Brown's always a fantasy frontrunner for the first 8-9 games. Then here comes Devontae towards the end of the year. Brown's targets and production starts to drop, and then Smith picks it up. But when you have weapons like that, you gotta feed them at all times. But I like Jacksonville, but not a contender just yet. I think they're 1-2 pieces away.
Again, just a little bit. They got more piece defensively. People talk about the draft here quickly a few years ago. I think they probably should have taken Aiden Hutchinson over Trayvon Walker. It's early. But Hutchinson looks a little bit better right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. That could have been a difference maker. We'll find out.
Just a lot.
Well, let's keep it rolling. Let's stick with some of these other teams and go quickly through these. Denver, they have won 5 in a row. Russell Wilson, the best touchdown-interception ratio in the league. He goes for 134 and a touchdown yesterday. Nothing really. Cleveland, DTR, couldn't get anything going at Mile High. Don't know what to take away from this one quickly. But Njoku had a good game, as he does with backup quarterbacks. And before we dive into this one, Steelers, we talked about them, 421 yards, new offensive coordinator and head coaches. Obviously, Eddie Faulkner, he runs the offense. And then Mike Sullivan, the quarterback coach, called the plays yesterday. So the Steelers get a win. They beat the Bengals with Jake Browning. Whatever. Browns lose with DTR. Again, whatever to those two. But talk about the playoff picture here, Jason. Steelers at that top wild card spot. Denver now in the mix. How do you see these final 3 spots going in the playoffs here?
Look, I only God knows, honestly. Because I think that this is going to be a brutal stretch down the stretch for the AFC, if you will. Those 3 or 4 teams in the thick of it. The Bengals should have won this game. Gave it away, honestly.
420 yards of offense for 16
The first
points.
time since 2018.
And they thought Matt Canada wasn't the problem.
The first time since 2018. That is insane. In today's modern NFL.
The only team to do that.
But in this NFL, you can't get 400 yards in the game of offense. It's 2018.
And he still had a job. That's what was so crazy for the last couple of years.
That's why I said earlier about the possible, because when you're that loyal to somebody and they're not really producing at all,
Shocked he made the move. At least he made it. I think it was definitely the right move for them.
But just to go both games, Pittsburgh stole a game. However, they won't sweep the Bengals. If they play them again in a few weeks, they won't sweep them. Because in
AFC North,
in AFC North, no one sweeps anybody.
That's right.
It's really, unless you're Cleveland, but no one sweeps anybody. But even with the Cleveland game yesterday, DTR got concussed and knocked out the game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he's healthy the whole game, I don't see it 29-12. I don't see it that way. But Denver is still fool's gold.
Think so? 5 in a row, they're playing better.
They're still fool's
Think
gold.
it's the schedule?
Yeah.
Are they a playoff team?
It's
not like it gets much harder for them.
However, I think the bottom of the AFC is way more competitive than the bottom of the NFC.
Agreed.
So they probably will be they'll be fighting for a 6 or 7 seed.
If I had to pick right now, and I'm looking at it, and 2 of these teams that I'm looking at now are out of it, Matt, I would go Pittsburgh, Houston, and Denver. They would be my 3 teams to make the playoffs. I would love to see the Bills get in. I think it'd make for a more fun playoff, but they've got a tough schedule. I don't see that happening. They can't drop. You would argue they have to win out Buffalo if they want to get in. In right now are Cleveland and Indy. I see those 2 falling out, and I'm going to replace those with Houston and Denver. That's how the way I see it. How do you see the AFC playoff picture? Is Denver a playoff team in your opinion? Or is Cleveland with no quarterback a playoff team?
I don't have any faith in Russell Wilson. I don't have any faith in Sean Payton. Look, they're winning, but they're kind of winning in spite of their shortcomings. I mean, it's not really like you're watching them and you're like, oh, this is Sean Payton. This is this offensive genius we've been told about. Like, they're winning, but it's not great. I mean, Russell Wilson still doesn't look like – and look, he may never get back to the Wilson that people thought he was. I don't have a lot of stock in Russell Wilson. He's one of those guys I'm kind of out on, unfortunately. I think that Denver has good pieces in certain spots, but I'm good. I just don't have any faith in Russell Wilson.
Let me give him 5 wins here. Last 5. These are the 5 wins in a row for Denver: Packers, Chiefs, Bills, Vikings, Browns. Good wins.
The Chiefs win and the Bills win were good.
And I thought the Vikings win to pull that one out late. I thought that was a impressive performance from them, even at home against Dobbs.
But to Matt's point, Russell Wilson isn't taking over games anymore.
Oh, no. Yeah.
He's not doing that. But he's winning games. I get him. I'm not going to side him too much.
Not turning the ball over. The defense is starting to play a lot better there. We'll see if that can continue.
I do think the Texans will make the playoffs, though. I do agree with that one. I think the Texans will make it. I think it might end up being 3 teams from the AFC South.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh.
Oof.
I think it might be the Texans, Jags, and the C word.
Wow, that would be an impressive. Shane
crazy.
Steichen's got to be considered, I think, Coach of the Year candidate if that is the case. I think he should be now, the way things are going. I haven't heard his name at all.
Look at the trajectory of them right now.
Yeah.
Who's to say they can't get in?
You're right about that. They definitely could. That's interesting. Yeah, bookmark that one as we go now to, and while we're on the subject here, Jason, quickly, not too much to draw from this one. Kind of, you wouldn't say a breakout for Zay Flowers, but he gets in the end zone twice, receiving and rushing touchdown as your Ravens beat the Chargers 20-10 in L.A. Probably as we all could have projected there. Are your Baltimore Ravens the best team in football right now?
What is the scariest team in football?
And let me ask you this, and again, having a lot of success, we're going to go off. And here's our question of the week on cue. How about that, Dennis? Here we go. What is the best team, or who is the best team in the NFL right now?
You know what? Not even being a homer. We haven't had our best offensive game yet. We've had decent games on offense so far. But I do believe that the Ravens are the best team in the NFL. I get flack on it on Facebook about it all the time. I don't think it's the Eagles. One could argue that it might be San Fran, and I would respectfully have that argument. All 3 phases, I respectfully have that argument. But making the case for the Ravens, if you want to talk about find ways to win to be the best, why aren't we giving that same love to the Ravens as we're giving to the Eagles for finding ways to win? No, you guys have won ugly games all year long, but yet you can't get talked about for it. So when anybody else does it, oh, they're not winning games. They're barely beating
what
teams.
good teams have you beat ugly? What give me a great win for the Ravens this year.
The Lions game. Yeah, the NFC Darlings.
Yeah, I'll give you
38-6.
I mean,
The Seahawks game, another blowout.
The Seahawks aren't good.
We beat the Bengals. That's.
Was that the game Burrow got hurt, or was he playing in there?
No, we beat them. We beat them with Burrow.
That was the second game of the year. I don't count the Bengals for the first 4 weeks. You can't count. You can't count the Bengals for the first 4 weeks of the year.
So you mean tell me that because of our record versus your record and your overall,
I think the Ravens are a better team. I will say that right now. As of right now, I think the Ravens are a better team. I just disagree with that. They've been, pulling out.
Guess
wins.
what?
The Eagles have beat the Chiefs like that. They come back to beat the Bills like that. The Ravens beat the Cardinals and the Seahawks.
Guess what? Let's do this. Mm-hmm. You put any offense against this Ravens defense.
I'm with you there. That part I don't disagree with.
Against the Ravens defense.
If I had to do it right now and I go top 3 teams for me, I'd go San Fran 1, I go Baltimore 2, and I go Ravens 3.
You mean Eagles 3?
Eagles 3, excuse me. Yeah, Eagles 3. And that, to me, is all because of defense. I think if the Eagles tighten up that defense and we start to see them play better the rest of the year, maybe they move up. But for me, the defense, that big question mark on the back end, we saw 505 yards of offense in a rainstorm yesterday. I think if they can tighten it up, but that's why I got the Eagles at 3 right now. Do I still think they're going to win the Super Bowl? I do. I think they're going to pick it up and play, and I think they'll win the Super Bowl. But right now, I got San Fran 1, Baltimore 2, and Eagles 3.
Okay, so what's your reasoning behind San Fran over Baltimore? I just want to know.
I just think when healthy, they're overall more complete. I think the defenses, are maybe a toss-up. Even the Ravens probably have. I think the Ravens have a better defense. I just think when it comes down to it, I'd like.
You like CMC over everybody else?
No, to me, it's everybody. Debo's the main guy for me in San Fran. I think Debo is one of the best receivers in the league, even though he doesn't get used as much as I think as he should because they got so many weapons. I think it's the Kyle Shanahan in that offense. I like San Fran's offense against the Ravens defense better than I like the Ravens offense against San Fran's defense. And again, to me, that's so close, but that's just how I'm leaning right now.
I respect it. I have no argument with you. I'm still going to say my team, but like I said,
yeah, I think it's interchangeable.
Saying either or right now, but I want to, before we get to you, we're not mentioning your boy.
Who?
My homeboy. We're not mentioning them and the Chiefs in the top teams.
And
how you feel about that?
Yeah, with that being said, do you have them in your top 3 teams, the Chiefs?
No.
Top 5?
I didn't have him going deep in the playoffs this year. Yeah.
Well, so your top 3. Let's go. Let's get your top 3 or 4 teams. Who you got right now?
You want my top 3?
Yeah.
I get my top 1
would be it would be us.
Mm-hmm. You going number 1?
No, honestly, no. Let me stop playing around. It would be the Ravens number 1.
Ravens 1, okay.
I would have us number 2. I would have Eagles number 3. Now the reason why I say the Ravens 1 is because I don't think the Ravens have played their best offensive game yet.
Agreed.
I want to see what they got when all that comes out.
I think Mark Andrews, hurts them. I think it really
doesn't.
Does.
I'm explaining why.
And I'm a likely fan.
No, that's what I'm saying because the offense looked like it actually moved a little bit differently.
It's quicker.
It was quicker without Andrews. I think, and not to say that Andrews isn't a great player, because we know he's our Kelsey, if you will, in Baltimore. Him and Lamar have a great relationship, and they make great numbers. But I think with the pace of Monken's offense, I think likely is probably the better fit pace-wise, because he can actually move around a little more around the field. He's a little bit faster.
He's a lot of motion with him.
A lot of motion with him. So I think that little wrinkle will be the difference, and there's still a backdoor chance of getting Andrews back. So I mean, the sky's the limit right now. Baltimore, we're Keaton Mitchell needs to get more touches every game. We go down every game, or we have lulls in the games because we're trying to run Justice Hill. Stop giving Justice Hill the ball. Keaton and Gus are your top 2 running backs.
I'm with you there.
Let the offense flow through them. You got Odell finally healthy, catching his usual slants and making things happen. Bateman actually catching the ball with 2 hands.
I couldn't believe it. Didn't think it was him.
So that's where we are right now. But to give my 3, I'm just going to flip out to your order. Our order's the same. Ravens, Niners, Eagles. We had the same order.
Yeah, I would say we all, except for, I switched the top 2, but it's all close. I think we're going to find out. It's going to be a fun
definitely going to find out.
Oh, yeah, I can't wait till.
Let's run through it before we get into Monday Night Football. A quick Thanksgiving no-huddle recap from Turkey Day on Thursday. Matt, we'll start here with you. The Packers take down the Lions. A big win for Jordan Love and the Packers. Jordan Love has been looking a lot better from what we thought maybe, next year they'll be moving on. Now it kind of looks like maybe he could be the guy, even the eye test along with the stats. He looks a lot better. What do you think? Is this more about the Packers win and Jordan Love or more about the Lions loss?
It's more about the Lions loss. I don't really believe in Jordan Love.
So off the Jordan Love train now?
I'm off the Jordan Love train. You know what it is? I'm going to be honest with you. To me, Jordan Love wants to be Brett Favre. He just doesn't have that natural talent. Look, it sounds like some hate, but I really thought Jordan Love was a guy that was a big, strong kid. I think the problem with him is I still don't think he reads defenses well. I still don't think he makes really good decisions when he's in the pocket. To me, his decision-making is a little bad, so I don't know if he'll ever make it there with that. And, look, people don't like to talk about this, but the Packers are one of those teams where they're going to trade an elite wideout before most teams would. I mean, they did it with Greg Jennings. They did it with Devontae Adams. I mean, they do a great job in finding those guys in the diamonds in the rough, but he's going to have – any rapport he builds, he's got to get ready. That's probably going to get shifted off.
Jordy Nelson.
Yeah.
God, leave that.
And you think about it, too, right? Aaron Jones, about to be 29 years old, right on that 28-yard running back cusp. He's been hurt all year long. A.J. Dillon doesn't really look like he's someone that can be the lead back of the team. They need to find a running back. They need to find, maybe the receivers aren't looking bad. Their offensive line's beat up. They got to sure some things up there.
Should have look better.
Should have kept Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams.
Should have kept Jamal Williams.
Wow.
When you think about it, the way their offense has looked since.
Yeah.
Should have kept Jamal Williams. I mean, aside from, of course, keep Devontae, but we're not going to go into that. That's a whole other discussion.
But we'll see where he ends up next year.
This is more about the Lion King, Lying. Detroit, the Lion King. Y'all frauds.
Jared Goff.
Y'all frauds.
Like I told people. Goff looked bad.
Y'all frauds. Yesterday. The Detroit Lions and the Dolphins are the same team.
I think the Lions should never wear
Can't be anybody good
uniforms again either. They're horrible.
I'm gonna say it again. The Detroit Lions and the Dolphins are the same team.
The Dolphins are frauds.
They pick on bottom feeders. They can't be the good team face to face.
Well, hopefully we'll see another matchup with them soon. Let's move to the Cowboys. They blow out the Commanders. We'll see how long Ron Rivera is still the coach of Washington. Dak for MVP, Jason. Again, he just continues like 331, 4 touchdowns. He's right up there in the mix.
You know what? I wouldn't be mad at it. I would not be mad at it.
Who would have thought?
I would be mad at it.
It's close. I wouldn't give it to him, but if you can't argue with the stats what he's done.
You can't
argue with it
I
so
wouldn't
far.
be mad at it. He's actually passed the eye test a lot this year,
Yes.
which is amazing for anyone to say.
Yeah, so we'll see how it finishes. But right now, he is red hot. Matt, 49ers, we talked about it. They destroyed the Seahawks. Yeah. They're back 31-13 in Seattle. They're 2.5-point favorites on the road at the Eagles next week. They win that game?
Yeah.
What's the score?
Give me 32-16.
32-16. We'll see if that comes to fruition.
What's the game?
And a little Sunday.
What's in
Philly?
Oh, the Dallas versus. Oh, we need to be somewhere close. Talk about this.
Yeah, that's fact.
Cowboys on Thursday night.
Depends on how bad.
On Thursday night?
Thursday night against Seattle.
But so when is the Cowboys and Philly game?
Oh, that's next week, or I believe.
The 10th?
Yeah, the 10th. Yep, 10th.
We should have a game day show live here and have fans in here.
There you go.
And watch this game.
It's gonna be
that would be fun.
It will be fun to see the Eagles get another victory over the Dallas Cowboys. That would be fun. Bonus question here, though, Jason. Who wins the NFC South? We talked about it earlier. Falcons take the lead. They are all bunched up there. Which one of those bad teams will make the playoffs? And will they have an above 500 record?
That's a no for me, dog.
Matt's going no.
I
think the Saints get in though.
Saints going with the Saints. They were the favorites to start the year.
God. You know what? I think Tampa Bay still got a chance to win this division.
Tampa Bay. Okay, let's see.
That's
Sean White. We'll see. Baker Mayfield. That's a shout out to Dennis. They're
Baker
on
Mayfield.
That one. Well, with that being said, let's talk about tonight's Monday Night Football action on ESPN. About 45 minutes away from kickoff here. The Chicago Bears at the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings -3. Over-under set at 43.5 points. Both of these teams, guys, coming off tough losses. The Bears blew that 12-point lead with 4 minutes left to the Lions. That was a brutal loss. And then the Vikings lose late on that touchdown to Cortland Sutton, 22-21 in Denver. So both of these teams looking to rebound from some tough ones, get back on the wagon here. Justin Jefferson is out of this contest. We'll see how he does next week. Fields rushed for 104 yards against the Lions. That's his highest so far this season. He seems to finally be healthy. He's got the highest touchdown rate of any quarterback in terms of passing. Chicago just doesn't throw as often as maybe some people would like them to. Vikings defense, though, allowing under 22 points under Brian Flores in the last 5 of the last 6 games. So they've been playing really well. They're at home in Minnesota. How do we see this one going tonight, guys?
Go Bears.
Yeah, give me the Bears, but it's the battle
thin.
of the mids right here.
I like the way the Vikings have been playing. I think the defense is looking a lot better. Dobbs, I think, looks good. Kevin O'Connell, I think a sneaky trend for Coach of the Year, depending how Minnesota finishes the season.
Ain't no way on God's green earth.
Give me the Vikings tonight in this one. Wish it was 2.5. The 3, I think it's going to be a close game, so 3 is right down the middle for me. But still give me the Minnesota Vikings at home with the Pasternaut.
The Pasternaut, yeah. Josh Dobbs, the Pasternaut, man.
And you guys said both of you guys going with the Bears,
I'm
getting
going
some
Bears,
points on the
man.
road. Bears went outright or take the points?
Outright.
Money line. With that being said, let's jump into some of these over-unders. And, Jason, let's start with the Pasternaut. 231.5 passing yards. Josh Dobbs, what do you think in this one?
Over? I guess?
Over, but not confidently there. Justin Fields, Matt, he's a runner, but he can throw up 202.5 passing yards.
He's going over.
Over 200. There you go. Alexander Madison, Jason, 40.5 rushing yards.
Under, that boy trash.
Yeah,
Josh
respect.
Dobbs, 35.5 rushing yards today.
He'll go over Madison.
Over there. Jason, Justin Fields, over under set at 58.5. They got him rushing a little bit tonight. Does he get to 60?
Over, oh yeah. He gets that.
Khalil Herbert, Matt, returned from injury last week. He's back again as a starter. No Deontay Foreman in this one today. 53.5 rushing yards.
No, he's a mid. Get him out of here. He like Madison.
Oh, and what about Tyson Chandler? Looked good without Madison in there. Now Madison's back. His over-under is set at 33.5 rushing yards. He's topped that the last 2 weeks coming in.
I'd say over slightly.
Cole Kmet, 36.5 receiving yards.
Not a chance.
Hell.
Not a chance.
If they throw to him, that's the problem.
I
They don't
think-
throw
Yeah,
to
don't
him.
throw to him. No.
DJ Moore, guys, 64.5, Jason.
Over.
Yeah.
Jordan Addison, 49.5 yards.
I go over slightly.
Slightly over. And then the big one here, the leading receiver for the Vikings, TJ Hawkinson, Jason, 65.5 receiving yards.
That's tough.
tough.
I'm going over.
Only because the Bears do have people who can run with TJ. But he does. He probably get over. I'm not going to get over.
Again, Bears, #1 team against the run in the NFL. I know that goes there down so much, or whatever, They're #1 team against the run, so they play the run well. Anytime touchdowns, guys, tonight. Who gets into the end zone? Let's give our viewers some big money picks tonight. Let's get some plus money.
A plus money?
Well,
Okay.
everybody's plus money to score, so we'll
Okay. If we're going to go really big, let's go Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet for a touchdown. Okay, get some plus size there. Matt, what are you thinking?
I'm going to go with Fields. Rush. Touchdown.
Field rushing. I like that one. Anytime touchdowns.
You've been on the street.
I'm gonna go this week.
You've been on the street. Let's go.
I'm gonna go with one that's gonna be towards probably the front end of it, but still plus money here. Give me T.J. Hawkinson to get into the end zone tonight for Minnesota.
You know what? I'm gonna give you guys another one tonight.
Yeah, go. There we go. Bonus bet. We got a Jason bonus bet. Yeah.
There we go.
Let's go Addison.
Addison in the end zone.
Addison in the end zone, man.
End zone. Get some good
Addison.
odds there too as well. If you want to parlay all three, and
Because
really be making.
because there's been a debate this year who's better receiver between Addison and Zay Flowers. That's been an argument all year long.
And Jay
Rookie
Ascent,
receiver.
Smith and Jigba is like pretty good too. I mean, all different.
But I
roles.
say the top two.
Yeah,
the
I'm
argument
7 touchdowns all year.
has been
That's
Addison
good.
and Addison is a hometown product from Maryland, so we'll give him a little love tonight.
Go. Let's see what he can do. I got him in fantasy. I need 12 points to win with Jordan Addison tonight.
You'll get it.
So we'll find out.
You'll
Ooh,
get
I like that.
Yeah, I
comment.
think
Jay says
so.
it, then it's going to come
You in
true.
the
So I'd like
PPR?
to hear that. Yeah, PPR.
Yeah,
you got it.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, like just
The disrespect too. They're projecting him at 10. Disrespectful, no?
only because of this game. It's not even him. It's this game. Like it's
Bears. It's a battle. Another division battle here.
It's
in
a
the
weird
NFC.
game.
bad, man.
It's
So
a
we
weird
got 2
game.
Bears. I'm rolling with the Vikings. There you have our touchdown picks. Jason rolling with Jordan Addison, and your first one was Cole Kmet.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rolling with Hawkinson, and Matt is rolling with
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields. So I like those. Dennis, you got a winner tonight? And Dennis taking the Vikings. We said 2-2. We're split here at the DETV Sports Desk. Well, guys, any closing words before we head out here on a Monday? Go watch some football tonight. Delaware moving up to FBS. That was announced today. So they'll be heading to Conference USA. Will take next year. They'll be ineligible in the CAA and all their sports, and then they'll be there in 2025 to start the year. So hello, Texas El Paso. I'll see you in New Mexico State. That's the teams that Delaware is going to be playing now.
UNC Charlotte?
Oh, is that what
they did the Conference USA too.
Oh, man, we're going to see. It's going to be
the 49ers. Still can't get away from 49ers, huh?
Hens moving up, and then this weekend they're going to travel to Montana to take on the second-ranked Grizz. That's
Montana Grizz.
They're one of the best teams in the country, so Delaware going to have their work cut out for them.
In which country? I'm sorry. I'm joking.
Not FBS.
Not.
We don't talk about that anymore. We're moving up, so now we can only talk about FBS. All right, guys, closing words, anything before we head out?
Let's talk about that again. That's a great move up for the Delaware. Del State, take notes. That's a good move. And shout out to Southern and Grambling for the 50th anniversary of the Bayou Classic this past weekend. It is the oldest premier black college football rivalry. It's not the oldest rivalry, but it's the most premier rivalry. It's on TV every Thanksgiving weekend. 50 years, and you had Fantasia perform at halftime with Southern University band. So the pride of HBCUs was all in
no PD Pablo,
all in New Orleans this weekend.
Man, so we get PD Pablo.
No,
now we're talking.
No, there would be no Big South Classic here.
Come on,
none
man.
of that.
Yeah.
Matt, closing words. I know you were amped up when you walked in. Big game this weekend between the Eagles and the Niners. What's on your mind as we close out?
So I just want to say this real quick. So like people think that we're haters sometimes of guys, and that we don't. We're not hype on guys, but Victor Wembanyama coming into the draft was called the greatest prospect in team sports history. His first 16 games, he's averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, 2 blocks, and shooting 43%. Great. I think he'll be an MVP type guy. I think he's going to be a future All-Star. But Shaquille O'Neal's first 16 games in the league, he was averaging 22 points, 15 rebounds, 4 blocks, and shot 51% from the floor. So I think what that tells us sometimes is sometimes it may look like we're hating, but we're just really trying to tell you guys, let's just take it easy. So
there you have it. I gotta tell you.
And I think Shaq was the best rookie coming in until LeBron.
I ain't mad at that. Yeah. I ain't mad at that.
It's going to
at
be
all.
a fun week 12. NBA season's heating up. We're going to talk more about that
Go
obviously
Celtics.
as we continue. Sixers in action tonight.
Bring back the Sonics.
That's right. Bring back the Sonics. I do think they should. Well, that'll do it for all of us here at DETV Sports. For Dennis, back behind the glass. We will see you next week on Monday, where we will talk about the Eagles and the Niners. Maybe a Tuesday show, so keep out on social media. We'll see. It could be a Tuesday night show where we'll recap the 49ers
Victory.
and the Eagles. So here we go. We'll find out. We'll see you guys then.